Welcome to the Grandstand Golf Podcast. This is the weekend golf update for the WGC Workday Championship, the Puerto Rico Open, the Gainbridge LPGA, and the Cologuard Classic. A full week of golf, guys. I'm your host, Adam Bapty, and as always, I'm joined by my brothers, Craig.
Hey, how we doing out there?
And Kevin.
How's it going, everybody?
I think our marquee one was the WGC here, guys. Craig, do you want to give a quick recap?
Yeah, well, it wasn't as exciting. The tournament didn't hang in the balance as long as maybe it did the week before at Genesis. But Collin Morikawa at Genesis, he was last in strokes gained putting for people that made the cut. This week, he came out on Friday afternoon. He had a stretch of 8 holes where he made 7 birdies. In those holes, the average birdie he made was 11.5 feet in putts.
Wow.
So we had a guy go from being last in the field to all of a sudden this week, he ended up finishing 10th in the field in strokes gained putting. It's this whole new saw grip. I just have to say, if Collin Morikawa, and I mean, he closed out the tournament quite comfortably. If he ends up being as good a putter as we saw this week with any kind of regularity, he is going to be raking in wins.
Yeah.
Like it's Tiger Woods like pace. Maybe I'm going too far. What do you think, Kev? You're the Tiger Woods boy.
If he can start making putts like he did on Sunday, it's going to be scary, because anytime you thought there might be a little glimmer of hope for some of the guys chasing, he would just drain another 10-footer and kind of keep the pedal to the metal. Mm-hmm. I don't think he missed a putt until, he missed a birdie putt on 17. But before, from the fringe there, but before that, I can't even think of when he missed. I guess he missed he also missed a birdie putt on the par 5, but really the tournament was already under control.
He was greens in regulation 2 putting at that point.
He made 2, let's be clear too, he made 2 huge putts early on Sunday on 1 and 2 to really keep his momentum going. On 1 he made a par putt, and on 2 he made a bogey putt. And those are both huge, because all his lead, he still maintained his lead.
Well, and that 1 on 2 was after he had flubbed at chip, and so that easily could have gone. If that was a double, that could have gone sideways in a hurry. Yeah.
But it's pretty incredible how what is this, 41 starts and 4 victories, including a major for him to start his career.
Well, and so I'm sure you guys heard it, but first person since Tiger Woods to have a major and a WGC by the time they're 25 years old.
Right.
So everyone, I'm sure, knows what happened to Tiger Woods this week with the car accident and everything. Horrible story. Fortunately, it's not life-threatening. But if you guys caught Morikawa's interview right after, when he was coming off the green, when he was just we don't say this often enough, but thanks. I thought that was a great interview, and kind of captures a lot of what Tiger means to these pros.
I do think it kind of captured the sentiment that a lot of these guys were trying to put out during the week. Mm-hmm. They all recognize the role that Tiger played in bringing golf to where it is now. And there's not really any debate about who the person who brought it to where it is was. And
Phil Mickelson.
Ernie Els.
I think the outpouring you saw this week just kind of illustrated how all these guys feel about Tiger. And I think everybody's hoping that they see Tiger back on the golf course. But this week it was more just being grateful that it
wasn't worse.
It's not life threatening, and his kids are still gonna have a father, kind of thing. So
We'll talk more Tiger here in a little bit, but let's go back to Morikawa. I think what the 2 kind of main stories I think of this weekend were Morikawa and the Concession. The first time really seen for most professional golf fans, seeing the Concession. We saw it in NCAAs in 2015. But it seemed like when Morikawa is on his best game, he's absolutely one of the best elite players in the world, and he seemed to be the only one immune from the concession, the concussion that the members call it, like these big numbers that lurk out there.
He had a double.
I think Horschel was the only one that didn't have a double or worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like one of the things I think was great about the golf course is you could make birdies and you could make bogeys, or worse than bogeys, on every hole. And there's not a whole lot of golf courses you can say that about. I tracked, I'm going to say it was maybe about 14 guys on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And on the back nine, from those 14 guys, there was a bogey on every single hole. And there was one hole that didn't have a birdie. It was 14, par 3. But I'm sure there was a birdie from someone on that hole today. But there's a lot of golf tournaments where if you take the top 15 finishers, you're going to find a few holes on the course where no one made a single bogey. So I think that's an awesome thing about a golf course. It makes no lead safe. It creates drama, and unfortunately this one was far enough away, like he was in control enough of this tournament for most of it that it didn't have that drama. But if you have a leaderboard in a little bit different shape, there's a ton of drama on that back nine.
So was it just me, or did it seem a little bit slower on Sunday, just around the greens and stuff, or was that just my perception of things? I didn't think the balls were kind of running off as much as they had previously.
It could have been pin placements. It also could have been the wind. Like they might, unlike Riviera, they might have actually realized that it was going to be windier today and not had the greens rolling as crazy. But I think they probably do have to be careful with pins and with treatment of the greens on days where it's going to get windy, because those, you see it especially on some of those holes around water where it catches the slope and it rolls back into the drink when it looks like it's 3 feet from the hole.
Yeah. So do you think, we saw kind of the silly like back and forth ping ponging. We're talking a couple, or just like chip it up, roll back, chip it up, roll back. Do you think if we were at this tournament, this venue every year, we would see less of that, or that's just how brilliantly maybe the course is designed?
I think you would see it every year.
Yeah,
I think it is really just a testament to the course and how it's designed, and also the pin positioning. You have to have risk reward pins that if you go past them and you go drifts 5 or 6 yards by, you might be spilling off. And then maybe they're on a bit of a tabletop, and as you're chipping back, it could roll off the front,
And I think there are some where we would maybe see less of the ping-ponging, because the more data these guys get, the more they know the places you can't miss. So those places where ping-ponging becomes a potential, they essentially, they try to just totally eliminate that miss. Some of them are not easy. Like one of them, I forget what number it is, par 5, where essentially if you get over the back,
13,
it can be,
I want to say.
I think it might be 13. It first off, it goes off the back so easily. So you have these guys hitting in, if they're trying to get there in 2, they go over the back, and then it can be hard to hold the green coming back from there. So the thing I really like about it is I think it makes you have to have all the shots. Like that's one of the things they talk about, with the equipment changes and courses potentially being overpowered, is it can just become driver wedge. And first off, you make fairways matter, because if you get out of the fairway, first off, there's a lot of water on the course, so you can make big numbers by missing fairways. But you get in a fairway bunker.
Tree line is also close to the edge of the fairway. Tree line is close.
Palmettos are lurking. But then you get in the fairway bunker, and having to be so precise into the green, it means that, maybe you'll see guys have to lay off and then hit shots in, or maybe it just means they have to it makes those shots into the green that much worse once you're out of position. So maybe you want to take on a little less risk off the tee. I just think it's a great course.
So I think one thing that some people have called for, and I agree after watching Concession, is that at too many courses, they have rough right around the greens, like too close to the greens. Right. And I think Concession illustrated how awesome it is when those are all shaved down and balls actually run away from the green, because like these guys can all chip out of thick rough.
Easy.
Like it's not that big a deal. Even onto like hard, dry, fast
you look at
greens.
winged foot. Like winged foot,
exactly.
they grow 6-inch rough right up to the edge of the green. But then the other thing that does is it makes it so that you can just, say it's par 5, you can just have your second shot roasting in there because it's going to hit the rough and stop. So
exactly.
I totally agree with the shaving down banks around greens.
Look at Augusta, right?
That's
the way it's a pretty good course, I hear.
Well, exactly with Augusta. And the hole that reminded me of that was 8. So it's a short par 4. So most of these guys had like 100 yards going in. And then in front of the green, they had that little creek. And it's all shaved off right in front. And I think most of these, they had that close pin placement. So you have a wedge, 100-yard wedge, that you need to overshoot, control your spin, and not have come back too far because it goes into the drink. And we saw tons of it.
And you saw people take on the risk and to try to put it tight, and it worked. And then you saw people do that, and it didn't work because they put too much juice on it. But I love so many aspects of this course.
The other thing that I thought when I saw these drone footage or the overhead blimp, whatever it was, these bunkers, you talked about the bunkers. The bunkers looked like it was like an ink splot that Jack just like dropped on a piece of paper. Like they made no sense almost. Like there's mounds of grass in every bunker. They spiral in and out of control and have these sharp like they were so bizarre.
So then the lips and the
exactly.
the upslopes, downslopes all becomes a bit of a hazard instead of just being somewhere where guys don't mind being because they are
they have such great lies.
Bunker players, it was cool. I really liked the course.
It seems like it's kind of the perfect course. I mean, I know everyone has talked about it for maybe PGA, USGA, whatever it is, but a Ryder Cup. I mean, it's named after the Concession, right? How cool would that be for a Ryder Cup venue sometime down the road?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that would mean the American team would have to think that played to their strengths. So we'll see.
Maybe we'd have a nice little Hovland Morikawa pairing, 1 and 2 on the leaderboard.
Well, I don't think maybe, yeah.
And then we also had a Rory Reed pairing, so we could have a lot of carryovers from this week.
Yeah, fair enough.
I kind of did think that a lot of the Euros that traveled did not fare especially well coming over, but we can talk about a few of them later on. The rest of the leaderboard, okay? So some of the chasers, Hovland. You guys want to talk about Hovland?
Yes,
Craig?
I do.
I know you do.
Honestly, I'm just so impressed by Hovland this week. Obviously the quadruple bogey. We can get into the nitty gritty. I think so essentially he went over the 9th hole. He got up in a bad spot. I think everyone's saying the mistake was made was not taking the unplayable. I think he had essentially no real unplayable lie to take that first time he was in there.
Just to be clear, this is on Friday. He was 7 under through 17 holes that day. Yeah. And then he made a quad on his last hole of the day.
But that first one he took out, I don't begrudge that shot. It's the next one when he was up against the lip of the bunker. I think that was just an ill-considered shot.
Where do you go?
Well, so essentially, like when he's having to come down on it like that, what is that shot going to do? Like, what is the potential upside of that shot that he catches it? I don't think he's holding the green there if he catches that thing perfectly. So essentially, he has to think about, I'm hitting this shot, and then I'm probably hitting another shot towards the pin. So where is the best place for me to do that from? Yeah. And that's where it's easy to say that in retrospect after you saw him burn it through into the bush and have to take an unplayable then. But it's one of those moments where I think a caddy, and I think his caddy did a pretty good job with all of that. And we saw him actually have a great recovery out of some long grass around a green today. But
I was going to say, with you wanting to talk about Hovland, I'm surprised the first thing you go at is he had a quad on one hole. He was unreal this week.
Well, so what I was going to say is it was how he reacted to that. I have been a Hovland fan for a long time, but I'm a fan for life now. This is his Rory at Augusta after his collapse interview, taking it on the chin. I just thought he handled himself so well. I'm just a big Viktor Hovland fan.
It's definitely hard not to be.
Yeah, and the thing that won me, he was being his usual happy-go-lucky self, and the interviewer, I don't remember who it was, but they asked, like, how are you, how do you maintain your attitude at a time like this? He's like, well, like, honestly, it's probably a defense mechanism. Like,
yeah, I love that.
I'm probably doing this so that I don't lose my mind. Like, I love that, because it's just the honesty of it is great.
Yeah.
I think he made a ton of fans. Even our mom texted me, I think, on Friday night, and she's like, I don't know much about Hovland, but I'm a big fan now. So he pulled on a few heartstrings, I think, after like how he carried himself through that. And then, I mean, he responded brilliantly. Did he go 11 under on the weekend? Like something crazy like that.
Yeah, he must have been close to the tournament lead in birdies made. Like, he was just playing unbelievable.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
He was third, because I had looked this up, behind Collin Morikawa, and Rory McIlroy made a lot of birdies this week.
Rory.
Yeah, Rory had as many shots. So Collin had no birdies. Collin Morikawa had no birdies. He had no eagles. He had 27 birdies. Rory had 25 birdies and an eagle. He had as many strokes under par as Morikawa. Wow. He just had so many more above par.
Yeah.
What?
Well, that just goes to speak
back?
to.
Yeah.
Rory,
it goes to speak to Morikawa. Like, when he's playing the way he is, I mean, he putted it awesome today, and that kind of sealed the win. But like, he just doesn't seem to have that foul ball. Like when Morikawa's on the tee, you're not thinking, oh, he could like slice this one into the woods, Kevin, or hook this one into the woods. It's like he's probably going to hit a 6-yard fade here.
But I think it's also one of the coolest things. Both Morikawa and Hovland, I think, are the two most promising of this young gun onslaught we're seeing, and neither of them are bombers. Like, Hovland hits it a ways, but he's about average off the tee on a PGA Tour. On the
average being about 300 now.
About 300, but he's for his distance, he is very, very accurate.
Yeah, and they both can hit it far enough, though.
They both can hit it far enough, but then they're so accurate and reliable for how far they hit it.
Yeah,
which to me is interesting and kind of awesome when we have guys who are out there bombing it and not having as much success as these guys who hit it. They hit it far, but average PGA Tour distance. They're not, it's not Rory and DJ kind of distances.
And they're both kind of smaller guys too. Like, they're more in the Rory build than they are in the DJ, Brooks, Bryson build.
Yeah, although I have to say, Viktor Hovland looks like he could bend steel. Like, that guy's forearms and hands. Like, how they always talk about that with old golfers? How, like...
Yeah, old man strength. We talked about this. I'm still waiting for mine.
He's got old man strength at, like, what is he, 22, 23?
I thought it's supposed to be from, like, picking up your kids, but that just hurts my back. I don't know what's happening to my
just breaking my body down. All right, so let's move down the leaderboard here.
It's just that, like, the not strong guys just don't make it to being old men. It's just like it's a natural selection process.
Yeah.
We had Brooks and Billy tie Hovland too. So we mentioned Billy Horschel already. He made no double bogeys or worse this week. Like, that's some pretty impressive consistency there.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on a good string of golf. He's come back to Florida. I think Craig, he was one of your sleepers on the sleeper show. We did.
He was my sleeper. Thanks for bringing that up, Adam.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's a good putter. I think he's a good putter, especially on Bermuda. I think he's also just one of these people. There's people who, when it's a stronger field of, people of the Billy Horschel sort of echelon on the PGA Tour, they don't do well in strong fields, but they really can do a good job beating up on the, the weaker fields out there. Billy Horschel, I think, does pretty well. I think he plays well at harder courses, which are oftentimes the tournaments with stronger fields. So he's had success in his career, maybe disproportionate to what you might expect for him based on his game. But I think it's just because he's got a strong mental game. Like, he's a grinder. Yeah. He's an absolute grinder. And he's not intimidated by.
No, he rises to the occasion. And when he gets into these runs of hot golf, like, that's essentially what won him the FedEx Cup that year. Like, he just got on a run and just cashed in on it,
just shuffled right in there.
Yeah, just shuffled right in there. So
the sneak up
the
to the
shot
ball
of the water,
on the
I think
greens.
we gotta mention.
Yeah, that was cool.
Is that something? Is that a shot you play if you're not a Florida man? Like, are you
with gators around there? Are you kidding me? Man, those gators, I don't get anywhere close. There was one, I think on Thursday, I was thinking of you, Kevin. Max Homa had his back to the water, and there's a gator lurking, and I forget who was on the ground with him, maybe Bones.
Yeah,
or
it was
something.
Bones, I think.
If I was hitting this, I would hit this as quickly as I've ever hit any ball in my life. Like, get there, get out.
I think that's where you make sure your caddy's got eyes. You got a safe word or something.
But Billy Horschel, what was it on 17, 16 today? Coming down the stretch,
16, I think it was.
He hit it in the water in the mud, completely covered. Like, there was not just covered in mud, like chunks of mud on his ball. Takes off his shoes. He's got white pants on, hikes up his pants, turns his hat backwards, and this pretty much takes an all-arm swipe at it. Like, I loved it. So
part of me was thinking today too, with regards to this, like, so you get like practically undressed to get all muddy and then put your clothes back on. Like, isn't that kind of what clothes are for, to like get muddy so you don't have to? Like, I guess then you don't want to be walking around with mud all over you.
I think the thing that would really get to me is the socks. Like, I want my socks to be dry. I don't care if my pants get a little bit wet, but like, I don't want to be playing the rest of this round in wet socks, wet shoes.
It's I just can't help but thinking, I was like, I wonder if he's going to take his shirt off like some of these guys do, just to avoid the splatter on the shirt. It's like, man, just get your shirt dirty,
I also feel like if there's not a reason to stop wearing white pants on a golf course, maybe that's it.
Yeah, no kidding. Sure. I feel like having bare feet gives them better feel in the mud. I feel like if I was there with golf shoes, I would have way too much of a hard swing, slip, fall, go completely mud with my whole outfit.
You know what? I think that would be your biggest problem in that situation, is lack of grip with your shoes. That's what you should be worried about.
That's exactly it. Okay, Brooks. Let's talk about Brooks a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brooks seems to be back.
My fade, I just want to put that out there. I was wrong on my fade. I did not expect Brooks to be playing this well. Brooks is back, yeah.
His neck, I don't know if you guys saw when he teed off on Saturday, his neck was absolutely killing him. It looked like I think he went bogey and then finished 2 under. So I think he finished with 4
and
birdies.
He did well. Like, I did not expect him to get under par on Saturday.
Yeah, he looked like he was struggling
He was grinding very hard to make scores that day. And then seemingly he seemed to be in fine health today.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what that neck thing is. I kind of got some of the coverage and not all of it, but it looks like it seems like he is a guy that just kind of corrects him. Like,
it sounded like there was a correction. I think they said orthopedic, but not a chiropractor. Something similar to that, some sort of manual therapy. But soft tissue can come up so quickly and leave so quickly when it's dealt with that it's hard to know whether, like, hopefully this isn't something that lingers and has any sort of lasting impact upon him. But in terms
otherwise, I mean, his game is like as sharp as it was a couple of years ago when he was winning everything. So
that blood in the water instinct.
Yeah,
he absolutely does. I mean, he seems like such a closer. Florida man now in the Florida swing with all the majors coming up pretty quick here with the players, and then Augusta will come up very quick.
If you can still get him at any kind of long odds on some of the majors, I mean, it's probably too late, but he had fallen for a while there. I think he's probably back to where, top 5 kind of thing on most of those futures. But
I think I remember mentioning that at the start of the year, that if you have any faith in any of these stars bouncing back, then now's the time to get them. And unfortunately, I didn't, so I did not put my money where my mouth is.
We'll have to check the tape on that one.
Another guy, Schauffele?
Yeah, triple XL red shirt day. He was draining birdies from everywhere on Sunday.
Listen, not everyone was able to get their Tiger red and black out to them because of all the sponsorship fiascos. So it looks like maybe they got him the wrong size. I don't know.
He's making a lot of birdies in it anyways.
Yeah, managed to get around the course in it. His game's impressive.
He just needs to get a win. I mean, I don't know what, like, it seems like he's going to linger in these top 5, top 10s, get lots of birdies, be like that really good DFS player. But unlike Brooks, I don't know if he has that closing kind of.
Well, they did say he's won at every level. I don't think it's, I'm not going to put the phenom stamp on him or anything. And I don't actually buy into
ouch.
I don't buy into the Finau can't win narrative. So I'm just saying that a little bit tongue in cheek, but I think he was playing really good last summer into maybe early fall, and then Scotty Scheffler, right around the time I picked him for one and done, he fell off the map pretty good and hadn't been playing well for a stretch. And then I want to say it's just the last 3 weeks or so that he's really started to turn it back on. So hopefully this form continues and sometime this year he breaks through and gets that win.
Yeah,
he's got the game.
I know he's won at every level, but I feel like he just needs to pick up.
Not many needs to pick up a win, get one under his belt.
Yeah, get one under his belt, and then I think at the majors, then he becomes the confidence. I think is just that much bigger. He hasn't
really been there that many times yet, and I think the more
he's still
you're
young,
yeah, exactly. The more you're around the lead and contention, the more comfortable you get with it, and I think it's only a matter of time for him. I really do. So.
Yeah, I agree. So the one group that I thought was really going to make a charge, speaking of black and red, Ryder Cup, we had Rory and Patrick Reed go off together in their black and red. I thought this was the group of anybody that was going to make a charge to Morikawa, and they both seemed, I think at least their scores were pretty flat for Sunday. What do you guys think of either of them?
Yeah, both of them kind of, Reed made a bogey on the first, but Rory just... they were talking about him making a par putt, I think, and getting momentum from it. And he did make a birdie, but, they were 37-35 on the front. Like, it just, I don't know. There was no real spark from either of them. It was middling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
I think one of the things that I will say about Rory, because this might be the only chance I get to talk about him today, and if you were watching our pick show yesterday, you know that I will talk about Rory as much and as long as I can. But the thing about Rory, they were talking about how he's trying to find it right now. And I think that it speaks to how good Rory is that he can go out here in a WGC field when he's looking for it and get a top 10. Most players, when they're looking for it, they're down in the bottom quarter of the field, but Rory can be looking for it and still, 25
but
birdies and an eagle.
That's because of Rory and the expectations Rory has kind of made us have for him because of his unbelievable levels that he's reached at some points of his career. It's like DJ. It's like you see these guys that just when they're playing their best, you feel like they could never not win. And Rory's floor, so to speak, when he's looking for it like this, is still so high and so much. His average is so much higher than so many.
Well,
his average is like a top 10 player. It just is in every tournament. If he doesn't find it, I still wouldn't be surprised if he top 10s.
Sorry, who said this that he was looking for it? Was it a commentator or him?
It was on the broadcast.
Okay,
I don't disagree with that. I don't really disagree with it. It's not like
they said that's what Rory said was that he's
that's what Rory had said. Okay.
Yeah. Because essentially it's when he has stopped looking for it and has found it, that's when we see him tear 5 straight tournaments where he finishes third or better. Like it's really when we just see it's the same thing we saw a little bit with DJ this year, where he just looks like he's playing on it at a totally different level than everyone else. And I just think that more the fact that he comes out here when he is looking for it and can top 10, it's just impressive to me that you can be that good when you don't have it.
The more we say it, the more I think I don't even know what it is.
I don't even know what it is we're talking about.
It on the horizon in any aspect of my life, because I don't know what these guys feel.
I'll just nod along. Yeah.
If we're moving on from the leaderboard, I did want to bring up the top 5 coming into the week, the official World Golf ranking top 5. It was DJ, Rahm, JT, Xander, Hatton. These WGCs are usually won by the top guys in the world. I think that argument can be made with Morikawa, but how these guys...
What was he, 6th going in?
Well, and he's now in the top 5.
He's now in the top 5. So this is top 5 preceding this. DJ 54th, Rahm 32nd, JT was the best of them at 15th, Xander 39th, Hatton at 22nd. They averaged 32 finishing position. That's almost halfway.
That's almost, the median.
That is kind of pathetic from these top 5 guys.
Yeah, it was a tough course.
And I think one of the things this speaks to me is that oftentimes these courses have a built-in advantage for distance, where you can be DJ showing up without your best stuff, but because you're, maybe 10 yards longer than average off the tee, you're getting a half stroke around on that. And I think this demanded so much precision, and it demanded so much from all these different every shot that you didn't kind of get that built-in handicap that DJ and Rahm, especially, I think of these guys. Well, and Xander, DJ, Rahm, and Xander are of those guys the ones that really have.
JT doesn't really poke it out there very far, so he's left out of that group.
Well, no, but with JT, it's more. I don't think of the driver as a weapon for JT.
Yeah. Where
for DJ, Rahm, and Xander, it really is a weapon.
I think this course would also be. I think it's a type of course. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm such a bad golfer, but it's a type of course that commands your full attention with every single shot. And if you're like 8 back going into the weekend, I mean, it would be so hard to just be like, yeah, I'm going to give 110% of all my focus and energy on the shot. I know these guys are professionals, but I don't know. Like,
well, I think that's also that's where if you're smart, you're getting competitive reps. Like, it's the same thing with, what would be a good example? Like in the NFL, when a game's a blowout.
When they call a timeout right before you kick the field goal, still kick it.
Or they bring in the backup quarterback to take the knee. Like, yeah, good thing he practiced that snap to take the knee.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree a little bit with that. It's like, I don't think Dustin Johnson's too worried about his competitive reps. Like, he shot a 6 over today. He went from 1 under to he finished at 5 over. I think he was just going through the motions. Let's face it. He doesn't need to check.
No, but I do think there's something to be said for, these guys, the ability to play tournament golf is different than them playing a practice round. Like, there's everything about it is different in terms of their mind frame, the process, everything. So you're practicing the process. It's the same thing with like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Like, they're great practice players, and every time they're in competition, they approach it the same way. Like, I think there's, I think it's hard for people like us to understand, because we don't do anything at the level these guys play golf, but like, you don't get to that level if you're like, you know what, like, I'm not going to win this one.
I don't know. I think procrastinate with the best of them. If we really,
I'd be up for 1 percentile on that.
I think you're right. I would say like somebody like JT, who's struggled a bit in the, he missed the cut last week. He had a bad opening round this week. I think he kind of grinded out to get to a top tie for 15th. And I think he probably was working on stuff, but I don't know.
I think DJ. I agree that DJ probably might have. I don't even know if he did mentally check out, but I think maybe everyone else is more what I'm speaking to. Like, but those guys were grinding.
That Hovland bunker shot where it was kind of embedded in the back lip. I don't think when you're 40th on Sunday, you're like, I'm going to chip out to go up and down to save my bogey. I'm like, I think I can hit the pin if I get lucky here. I'm going to try to like, what does it matter?
Especially if you're like DJ or Rahm. It's like, yeah, I can hit the pin.
Maybe I'll get 1 shot on the broadcast today. I don't know.
Well, and that might, it might change their risk reward and the shots they would try. But I still think they're going through the process pretty hard and grinding pretty hard. Yeah. That's just my opinion. It might be wrong.
I think it's fair. Okay, so the other thing we kind of touched on at the start was the tragic car accident of Tiger Woods, and I think the kind of the response to that today on Sunday with these players wearing black and red and kind of honoring him in any way that they could. Billy Horschel wrote TW on his hat. I mean, as you guys both mentioned, it's a tragic thing that happened. We're happy that he's alive, and he sounds like it wasn't critical in any way, but who knows what his golf future. I think that's completely unfair for us to even talk about. What did you guys think of the tribute today with the players tributing Tiger Woods? Kevin,
I think we already touched on it for the most part, and I've pretty much said what I want to say about it. But yeah, I think it just shows how much he means to all these guys, and for the most part, I mean, if you look at the age of a lot of the guys that are kind of budding right now on the PGA Tour, they're they're pretty open about how Tiger was their inspiration to get into golf and to perfect their craft of golf, and so they're just trying to respect him like you would kind of like a mentor.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's the reality. Like, Greg,
I think the cool story I saw, and I just saw this quickly as Sunday's been a bit of a whirlwind in my household, is I think I saw from Morikawa after he won that they tried to ship him kind of his black and red outfit from his sponsors or whoever provides it for him, and it got caught up. So basically, I forget if it's the caddy, who it was in his camp, basically said, well, we can't get you the outfit, but go out there and close like Tiger would. And he's like, and I just took that to heart. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think it's quite clear that Nike did a pretty good job getting all their guys. Everyone who's a Nike player, like Tommy Fleetwood looked pretty good, Rory looked good, Finau looked good. Like all the guys had pretty nice shiny Nike stuff.
Adidas
there's also
maybe wasn't
about,
quite as concerned.
Sorry,
Adidas maybe wasn't quite as concerned.
But I thought that some people really pulled off the look quite well. I thought others not so much. It was a little more natural on some of them than others.
Yeah, it does look odd. It does stick out on some players. Like it would stick out on me, I'm sure.
But like and you know, like Tommy Fleetwood, I thought he pulled it off pretty well. He maybe it's just the Nike black and red just popped a little bit closer to Tiger Woods colors than everyone else. But
yeah, he actually almost pulled off the mock. I don't know if there's a lot of guys that can pull off the mock.
No,
I think you're right about Fleetwood was rocking it. Maybe it's the flow. You know, you can never underestimate the flow.
Fleetwood's just got style. Okay, moving on to 3 stars.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 3 stars for the week. It's going to be a little bit different. I might surprise you guys here a little bit, but 3rd star is the Korda family. So going back to the LPGA event, we've had 2 LPGA tournaments this year. They've both been won by the Korda sisters. So it's Korda sisters 2, rest of the LPGA 0 to start the year. Nelly Korda won by 3 strokes at the Gainbridge LPGA. And I think, as I saw through the weekend, that they're both members at the Concession as well. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a weird, tie back.
Paul Isinger was saying that their members, they practice there as well as at other courses in the area. So I don't know. I don't really know how it works with pros. Like, are they paying for a membership, or are they just essentially on the roster because it's good for the club to have the Korda sisters golf in there, you know?
Or if they walk into any clubhouse, can they get a tee time?
But like, is it like getting your degree and then you see someone else getting an honorary degree? You're like, hey, I worked really hard for this.
Good for business. Good for business.
So that's the 3rd stars, especially Nelly, but the Korda family with the start to the LPGA season. The 2nd star.
Hey, just before we move on, I just wanted to mention how, I didn't get any chance to watch any of the LPGA this weekend. I was trying to follow a little bit of it. But just perusing the leaderboard, before we started this podcast, I just have to say what awesome shape the LPGA is in right now. Like, they have a lot of depth in their fields, and a lot of players that are stories, and I just think it's really in a good place, and I'm looking forward to kind of learning more about it and following it more as as we're doing these podcasts, and maybe we'll need to do a one and done for LPGA.
I like it. Here. I like it. Mix it in. I like it. Yeah. No, I completely with you, Kevin. I completely agree. 2nd star, Collin Morikawa. We kind of talked about him in length. The one stat that I was going to bring up, I think Craig ruined already, but from my calculations, Collin Morikawa lost 7.24 strokes putting at Riviera. This week he gained 3.95 strokes putting, a difference of 11.19. Obviously, Riviera was his first week with, what are we calling it? The
saw. It's not the claw. It's
not
different.
the claw.
It's
the saw. Oh, there's some kind of rhyme there. Okay. It's the saw. Hey, something's working. He said he's committed to it. He's a dangerous man if he's getting strokes putting like that.
I told my wife was working from home today, and I told her that Morikawa closed it out and won it, and she had seen him winning the PGA, so he's one of the guys. Him and Rory are the 2 guys that she cheers for when I tell her.
Why Rory?
Because she knows how much
What
I
do you
like
think,
Rory.
Rory?
And I always tell her how nice of a guy Rory is, and when he had his kid, and she just likes Rory. But anyway, so she was like, "Oh, like, is it because of his new claw putting grip?" And I was like, "What?
What?"
And it's because I had the TV on upstairs the other day, and they were talking about it on the broadcast, and so it was kind of like that Friends moment when Phoebe just memorized the title of one of Ross's research papers. I was like, "What are you talking about? His claw putting grip?"
That's like the one time I was watching football with my wife who hates football, and she says, "Oh, after midway through the play, oh, it's a play action." I'm like, "What? How do you know what a play action is?" I think she might have just been confused and said it's a play, it's action, but I don't know.
She thought it was like a movie thing, like it's a play, action, quarterback. Take two. Yeah, Collin Morikawa, second star.
Saw grip.
Guys, who's the first star? Like, what?
Yeah, it's always the guy who wins the big tournament.
I know. It's Branden Grace. First star, Branden Grace.
Wow.
Great story on Sunday. Great story for the week. He won the Puerto Rico Open, the alternate event. Sandy Eagle on 17, drivable par 4. He got to a greenside bunker, got it in on 17, 71st hole. Hold out. 18, got again to the green, par 5, got up and down from the greenside bunker, got a birdie, got the win. Huge win for him. I mean, it's a tough story. So Branden Grace had COVID-19 in the summer. He withdrew from the Barracuda, and he also missed the PGA Championship. Sadly, his father got it earlier this year. He had a long battle with it and passed away 5 weeks ago. So just 5 weeks after his father passing, Branden Grace kind of made a resurgence on the PGA Tour. I mean, this is a guy that was once ranked 10th in the world in the official world golf rankings, 10th in the world. Entering the week, he was 147. So amazing kind of tribute to his father, amazing kind of progression or continuation of his career. Going back to the summer of 2020, he had missed cuts or withdrawn in 10 of 11 tournaments. Like, he just wasn't making paychecks. He wasn't making the weekend. He wasn't getting it done. The Puerto Rico Open, it's an alternate event, but it opens so many doors. Viktor Hovland won last year. Tony Finau is a famous winner. It gives him an exemption for 2 years. Branden Grace, I think, was one of my favorite stories from Sunday. He's the first star.
Moves up to 83rd in the world now.
Way to go, Branden.
83rd in the world, and I think, he was
the thing we don't know, though, the Puerto Rico curse, we still don't know if they can win in the States afterwards. It's still it was a Mayakoba win, so I don't know. Maybe it wasn't so much that the curse is broken, so much as we didn't understand the true nature of the curse.
Now I feel like we're just making this curse whatever we want to fit the narrative. We'll see.
Maybe it's just that you can't win the Sanderson Farms Championship.
If you're hanging the curse on Hovland and Finau not winning in the U.S., I don't know how long that curse is going to hold up.
I don't think it'll hold up very long.
Very long at all.
One of the things, just real quick, I had forgot to mention this, and I don't know if we'll be getting back to him, but Collin Morikawa, there was a lot to talk about the putter grip and how Marco Mira had helped him. I also thought it was funny because Paul Azinger had helped him with chipping, but I thought it was so great because Azinger's on the broadcast, right. And so twice in, I forget if it was maybe the last 3 or 4 holes, somewhere around there, and it's like a chance for them to bring up how Azinger has helped him with a chip because it's a chippy moment, and twice he plays the fairway wood bump and run. It's like, oh, I guess he didn't quite take to the lesson.
Oh, I love that. That's good. Yeah, he was our go-to concession guy as well, hey?
Yeah.
Concession member, concession.
He was like a proud parent.
He was. Yeah. He absolutely was. That's exactly it. Okay, should we move on stock up, stock down?
Let's do it.
Craig, kick us off. Who's moving up in your books?
Okay, so this might be a controversial one, but I'm going Cameron Smith is moving up. And it might be controversial because I had chosen him as a good showdown play, and then he proceeded to go out the next day and shoot a 77.
Yeah, there might be a mob of our showdown watchers. I don't know if they'll agree with that one.
But what I really want to highlight is, he had a bad. I think he was tied for the lead going into that Saturday round, and he went out and shot 5 over 77, and he came back and shot 5 under, one off the lowest round of the day. Just to me, the type of thing, like, it would be so easy after the round. From being in contention and having that round, it'd be so easy for that to be the end of the tournament. And just kind of shoots a 73 or 74 today, but to go out there and shoot a 67, I think it says a lot about him as a golfer and a competitor. And so,
listen,
to me,
Craig, these guys, like, they don't mail it in. They need competitive reps.
It's all about
tell you
this. But yeah, he's in really good form. Genesis, he was 4th place, tied for 11th this week. I just think tied for 11th with a 77. So I just think
impressive.
There's a lot of positives.
Impressive.
A lot of people will only think of his collapse on Saturday. That would be the only takeaway from the week. But to me, you have to think about all the other things he did well aside from that.
Yeah, no controversy over here. The only thing is I strive to be Fleetwood in hair, but I'm more like Cameron Smith right now, and I'm okay with that.
I was actually thinking that we should have a bet, maybe on our when we're able to play golf again. We'll be around the same time we're able to get haircuts again, and whoever loses will have to go like full Cam Smith.
I like that, but I think the mustache should be included as well.
Okay, I'll see what
for
kind
a
of
period of time.
I was gonna say I'll see. We'll have to talk to the wives to see how long that would be possible for.
Exactly. All right, who's moving down?
Okay, this one hurts a bit. This hurts the heart. Moving down is Xander Schofley. I have been as big a Xander booster as I think anyone over the last few months, but he came out this week. He was tied for 39th, I think is where he ended up. It's his worst finish since the RBC Heritage back in June. It's also the first time since then that he's had 2 rounds over the course of a weekend that were negative strokes gained. So, I mean, really, in terms of the stock down, to me, I've been hyping Xander as a future number 1 on the verge, has been playing as good a golf as anyone outside of DJ and Rahm. I still don't know if that's wrong, because there's been a lot of guys that have not had the consistency he has had. But, for someone who has been half a year without this bad of a finish, it's now 2 weeks in a row that he has underwhelmed, I guess I would say. So the heater is over for Xander. I don't expect him to be down long, but the real hot streak he had been on is over, and let's see if he can get back out there. But for now, a little bit of a the momentum's ended. Let's find some new momentum and start again.
A little price check there.
Might just be a little bit tired too. I think he's been playing.
He's been playing a lot of golf.
Yeah. He's young.
All right,
though.
Kev.
All right, I got one about as controversial as Craig here, but my stock up is Viktor Hovland. It's like really it's just I guess well, that was a little bit sarcastic.
I think it was sarcasm.
It's probably the least surprising thing, but I guess I just was like, this week I was really pulling for him. Made some bets on him, which was nice. But it's just, he's playing so good, and he has so clearly reached that level of like, he's I think 13th in the world after this week, but really he's playing to like a top 7 kind of level right now. Like his last finishes since he won in Mayakoba: first, tied for third, tied for 31st at the Century, tied for second, tied for sixth, tied for fifth, tied for second. Like, he's playing at an unbelievably elite level. Even after that quad he made, it was like you still just knew he was going to be tearing his way up the leaderboard for the rest of the weekend. Like, it wasn't. Yeah. It felt like one of those things. It was a sure thing. He was just going to keep charging his way up the leaderboard. He sort of eluded my radar a little bit last week at the Genesis because I was so.
You know what it reminded me of? I can't remember the race, but the F1 race last year where Lewis Hamilton fell way back, and then like the rest of the time he was just like charging, passing people the whole race.
How far is he gonna get?
If this was more laps, like he might just come all the way back here. And that's what it felt like with Viktor. He was just charging the rest of the time.
Yeah, so I guess he kind of, like I say, eluded my radar last week because I was so Homa-focused, but he tore his way back at the Genesis to finish T5, and that's just, I mean, it's like over the course of 4 rounds, the best players rise to the top, it averages out, and he is one of the best players right now. It's just, he's proven it tournament after tournament, and I don't think he can be considered anything but like a favorite in every event he enters at this point. I thought if anything, he was playing so well that I backed him this week. And I thought if anything, the knock on him has been his chipping, which he's improved dramatically. But I was like, man, these green complexes, they might get the better of him. And I guess you could argue with the quad going back and forth. But no, he played exceptionally well around the greens. I don't know what his strokes gained were around the greens, but he did everything he needed to do. He was certainly hitting it close enough to offset any shortcomings he may have had there. So,
well, his strokes gained around the green was so affected by that one incident.
Yeah, fair enough.
But like it's one of the things that was talked about a lot last year. His short game has improved. And just to expand on a few things you said there. So his last 7 tournaments, he has been inside the top 6 in 6 of them, which is unreal. Yeah. But then over his last 14 tournaments, he's been top 20 in 11. So like he is just, it's essentially his floor is just so high right now. And especially in the last couple months, it's been like, what's his floor? Basically a middle top 10, it's just unreal golf he's playing.
He's playing so well, and I guess I knew it, but it just became so evident. I was really watching him this week, and he played awesome. So moving down, I have Bubba Watson. Bubba has not.
I see what's going on here. So here's your one and done pick last week. You couldn't mention it because we have a rule where you can't do stock down on your one and done pick if you're disappointed. So you just waited a week. All right, continue.
Yeah. So Bubba is struggling. He had good showings at the Zozo and the Sherwood last year, and since
it looked like he might have good momentum going into the Masters from there.
Yeah, but since then he kind of has been stuck in neutral or fallen back. He's missed a lot of cuts. I can't find the stuff I was looking at earlier, but he's essentially barely made the cut or missed the cut in his last, like, pretty much since then. Yes, I did pick him as my one and done last week at the Genesis, a place he's won 3 times, and he did miss the cut, which didn't exactly endear him to me. But he's just not really playing very good golf right now. And again, my stock up, stock down tend to be guys I have feelings for about whether I'm going to back them in tournaments going forward. And right now, Bubba is in the not backing camp. So that's pretty much what it comes down to.
I got you. I got you.
Right, yeah, and just to hammer home on Bubba, his putter has been absolutely ice cold. He on the season, he's 217th in strokes gained putting. He's losing almost 3/4 of a stroke per round on the greens, and on the for the tournament he was over a stroke round. He lost over 3.5 on the tournament. Oh, so I guess that's under a stroke around. But regardless, it wasn't very good.
I think he also showed up on Thursday with this like button up golf shirt / Hawaiian shirt untucked outfit thing. Did either of you guys see that?
I saw a bad photo, like not very high resolution photo. But yes, I heard about that.
So I did get my stats here. So it was the Zozo and the CJ Cup. The Zozo at Sherwood. And the CJ Cup. He finished in the top 10 in both those events, and then since then, hasn't really done much of anything.
And I think it's in large part, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of things going on, but the putter's just been ice cold. So that'd be the one thing maybe to watch out for. If you see that start to turn around, it might mean Bubba's starting to get his groove back.
Yeah. All right, moving up for me. I'm going a little bit across the pond here. Louis Oosthuizen, South African, finished 12 under T6. I don't know. I think one of our favorites. Just we like Oosty.
Sweet swinging Louis.
Sweet swinging Louis. Whenever he pops on a tournament, I love seeing him on the broadcast. He gets out that 5-wood around the green. He's draining 30-foot putts. I mean, I love seeing him up the leaderboard again this weekend. He is top 30s in 4 of his last 5 tournaments. He's playing really well recently. As I mentioned, he got a T6 here. He just shows up. I mean, he doesn't play a ton, but he shows up at big events. He hasn't missed a cut at a major since the 2017 Open. I think with his form, just plug him in as a veteran to be respected and possibly feared if he's kind of lurking around, because you never know when he can. I mean, just complete game. He's 38. He's going to get a couple more wins here. You just don't know when and where, but he's going to get them.
Yeah, I before I saw you had him, I had actually started to plug him in as my stock up. So the one other stat I had pulled up was his last 4 WGC events. He's been 6th or better in 3 of them. So
wow,
he's one of these guys. I mean, I think they say about him, he just loves farming so much, and if he didn't, he would be like, you know, one of the best players in the world. But he just like, golf is just what he does when he has to go out there and get paid. So
he figures he shows up at these WGCs like, I might as well get paid while I'm here.
Get paid, keep my status.
It's like Mark Leishman with his lawn. If you've seen his barefoot mowing his lawn in his backyard.
But Louis, he's impressive. Like when you look through, you'll be like, he just took 4 weeks off there for no real reason in the middle of the season. But yeah, he just shows up and plays well.
WGCs, majors. I mean, he's just gonna creep up these leaderboards. He just swinging, as you said.
Yeah.
All right, moving down. Kevin, I'm sorry to say, Robert MacIntyre is my stock down.
Wasn't
right
his best
now.
Showing, all right.
It wasn't his, and this is in part. I mean, I kind of feel like maybe I'm giving him a hard time because I picked him in our sleepers show, but we've been singing his praises for a while. One of your boys, Kevin, but he's been playing great. He got that win. I think it was in October or November at the Cyprus Showdown. He has eight top 30s in a row, but there needs to be, so he's reached a new level in his game. He needs to find something, and it needs to translate to the US. These are his most recent starts in the US. So he is +8 here, tied for 61st, 56 at the US Open, 66 at the PGA Championship, 59th WGC St. Jude, and then 42nd WGC Mexico. It's great that he's making the cut at both the US Open and PGA, but I mean, the best finish there is 42nd at a WGC. He's better than that, I think. And I think he knows he's better than that. So he just needs to find something to translate into the US kind of tournaments here.
Yeah, you know, he's young, and he doesn't have a lot of reps in North America, really. So yeah, I think that it's great that he got a win earlier this year to kind of boost him up in the world rankings, and get him into some of these big time events.
For sure.
And, you know, I think my picking him as one of my guys this year was to just see him kind of continue his progression, and I think he has to this point. And yeah, it'd be great. I'd love to see him, you know, put on a good showing at one of the majors this year for sure.
Yeah, and I do think it is hard for these guys who are coming over to start winning, start competing in the States like they do in Europe. And I think especially so for guys that I don't think he played university golf in the States.
I don't think he did.
And I think that adds one more element to it as opposed to, you know, a Thomas Peters or
EVR, Dietrich, all those guys.
Like, I think there's so many cultural things that are different, and especially around golf and around the PGA Tour. And
let's face it too, this year is kind of a weird year. Like, it'd be weird with COVID and all the restrictions to, you know, fly in and not really know what the procedures are.
Well, it'd probably be weird flying into Florida and there not being restrictions and things like that, you know. Like...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know, but...
Fair point.
But you know, I think the most important thing is he got good competitive reps. So
there you go.
Oh, God.
Competitive reps is like the low apex of this podcast, eh?
No kidding. Yeah, it is a low apex. That's exactly right. Oof. Woof. Okay. Moving on. Kev, center to the face, pie in the face. What do you got this week?
Yeah, so I don't like the in your face title of this, so I'm calling it Kevin's face for this week.
Oh, Kevin's face.
Face. So center of the club face, we're going to another Kevin. Kevin Sutherland. He won the Cologuard Classic, beating, unfortunately, our boy Canadian Mike Weir, who was holding I believe the first, second, and third. Well, no, sorry. First and second round leads.
Oh, I thought you were going to say first, second, third ranked. I was like, what?
But the center of the club face moment for Sutherland it came on 16 today. He chipped in for birdie, which was the only birdie of the day on 16. He was down by 2 at the time. Weir was in a back bunker and unfortunately didn't get up and down, so it was a 2-shot swing. They went to a par 5 17th where Sutherland birdied and Weir wasn't able to birdie par, so Sutherland took a 1-shot lead into 18 and just played 2 fantastic shots to kind of seal the deal. 18 was one of the hardest holes on the course. It's like a fairway in between 2 lakes essentially, and they threaded. I mean, it's a very demanding drive, and he had a perfect drive under pressure and sealed the deal. So, but yeah, it was a huge swing on 16 when he chipped in for birdie, and I think it was his 4th win on the Champions Tour. So unfortunately for our boy Weir, I was really pulling for him there. I was hoping he could close out.
Yeah, I just love how competitive he has been since turning 50 and apparently he had been, because he knew for a while he physically couldn't compete on the PGA Tour before he had turned 50, but he felt pretty good about where his game was once he was down to the distances on the Champions Tour, and so I just love the fact that he's having so much success.
Yeah. I know he was really working hard on his. He didn't win, but I know he was really working hard on his game as he was approaching 50 and being eligible for that tour. So it is nice to see him having success on it. 4-shot lead with 9 to go. It's too bad he wasn't able to close it out, but it happens. So what are you gonna do? He's a gritty guy. I'm sure he'll get there. So that's my center of the club face moment. My pie in the face moment. So I'm going to go to Matthew Wolff on this one. Matthew Wolff carded an 83 on Thursday, including a muffed practice putt. I don't know if you guys saw that. Which apparently isn't a penalty anymore. So that's, that
you own that spot on the 83. Green.
Yeah, that wasn't one of the 83 shots he took. But he shot an 83 on Thursday and then he withdrew. Now, I know he withdrew a couple tournaments back citing a wrist injury.
Yeah, Farmers.
Yeah, Farmers. I don't know if I didn't hear of any reason for the withdrawal. I don't know if that's still bothering him, but to me, it's just a bad look. You shoot a terrible round at a no-cut event and then you withdraw. Like, if your wrist is bothering you, maybe you just skip the event and rehab your wrist and get it into the shape it needs to be moving forward. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just a bad look. And I could be off base here. There could be a very, very legitimate reason for his withdrawal, but it definitely kind of looks like a guy who was just pissed off and didn't want to go back out there the next day. So
I think he is struggling. So I read an article on him, and essentially I think he's just really struggling. Like, not just with golf. Like, it sounds like he's just in a really bad headspace. And I mean, the reality is he's 21 years old, 22 years old. Not everyone can learn how to be a public figure and be in the light all the time. So yeah, it's a pie in the face moment for sure, because he's gonna feel like an idiot about all of this, I'm sure. But yeah. And I just hope he can figure out, like, if you need to have things in place so you can handle the ups and downs, like it's not going to be the end of his ups and downs on the PGA Tour, So hopefully he finds ways that he can detach. And I think it's especially tough with COVID. The article I was reading was talking about how it's especially tough for a guy like Matthew Wolff because other guys are going home to their families, or maybe they're young. Like just the situations can be very different. Obviously,
for sure. And listen, everybody's dealing, like, through COVID and the pandemic. Everybody's dealing with some sort of mental health issue. Really, and obviously some more than others, and everybody has different support structures and everything. So I in no way want to rip on the guy for that. It's just, I truly do believe if you start something, you're supposed to finish it. And that it's just not what he did. And I
kind of feel like I have a kind of controversial take, and maybe I'll look poorly. I'll look poorly through saying this, but I mean, these guys, I get that he's young, and I'm in a very different place when I was 21 than I am now. I have a daughter and a young family and all that. But these guys on the PGA Tour, they're in their dream job, and they have
millions of dollars.
Making millions. He's a star. I can't understand the spotlight thing. I totally cannot comprehend that at all. So I'm not even going to address that. But with the COVID thing, they have had the luxury of having, to being able to continue their job and get tested every week, and have 150 of their friends to play a game with, along with possibly a coach. I don't know who. I don't know. Yeah, who knows if the friends, but along with a small inner circle, and I don't know who that is. But like, I haven't seen my in-laws who are 10 minutes down the street in over 3 months. Like it's hard for someone that's in lockdown.
Are you saying these are negatives, or?
Oh, harsh, Greg. But like, there's so much happening around the world, and I'm glad hopefully he can take a break and kind of improve on this. But like, it's hard to hear that when so many people around the world have
struggling,
lost their jobs, can't see their family members that are just down the street, all those things, when really they have a lot of their normalcy than compared to others.
Yeah, but I guess I hear what you're saying, and I guess I would just say that it can suck for everyone. Like, it doesn't
totally.
Yeah. It's all relative, right?
The other thing, like, I'm not saying he necessarily did the right thing. I'm just saying that, like,
it's a bigger story. I'm on both sides a little bit here, but I think
I don't think anyone is being like super hot take Matthew Wolff's the worst. I just think that I think it's clearly we're seeing a guy struggling, whether it's because his golf game's bad and he's pissed off about it, or whether there's anything more to it, is just pure conjecture. But I think obviously he's going to be embarrassed with how this week went, and hopefully he moving forward, whether it is just he needs to get his golf game back into a good place to be. I mean, we've seen him be so happy-go-lucky out there. It's a very hard thing for people who can't naturally be the same. Like, if they rely on being happy-go-lucky, but they don't have that when, if you're in the public spotlight and what you do, and you are doing it embarrassingly bad, like, that can be a very hard thing. I mean, I've never done anything embarrassingly bad, so I don't really know. But you just have to figure out, okay, so like, next time I'm struggling this bad, how do I handle it so that I don't feel as bad about it after the week? So like, I grind and I end up finishing next to Harris English on the leaderboard. Like they're pros. You have to learn how to go there and do your job when it's not going well, I think, is ultimately
our all of our takes on this has made me feel a little bit bad for even making this my pie on the phone.
No, but I think it's a good thing to bring up.
So I'm just gonna shift now. I'm gonna pivot to Viktor Hovland's quad. I think he has 783,000 reasons why he's all right with how things turned out this weekend. So let's just go with Viktor's quad.
I think it's a good moment to bring it up, because I think it's a pie. Like, I'm sure he probably feels like it's pie in the face moment,
Yeah, and he'll be interested when he listens to our podcast with these takes, I'm sure. But no, I mean, the biggest thing is I forget his age, 21 or whatever it is. He's mature beyond anything that I resembled at that age. So
I can attest to that.
Yeah, anybody that knows me can attest to that. So he's done a lot of things right, and I think he'll come out of this a lot better.
Yeah. Well, we hope so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to our DFS picks betting segment for the week, looking at our picks recap, which we post on Twitter every Wednesday. We have a winner, sleeper, fade, no, we don't. I copied this wrong. Fade. We have a one and done for the WGC and a one and done for Puerto Rico. Sleeper highlight, I think, is Kevin with Viktor Hovland, T2.
Also, winner highlight.
I was going to say, that's really going on there.
Wasn't much of a sleeper.
Wow, I am bad even right now. I gotta check. Okay, winner, Kevin got Viktor Hovland, T2. He also got him as his one and done. Sleeper.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything noteworthy. Craig was best with Kristen Besadenhout at T32. I had Shane Lowry and Kevin had Mackenzie Hughes, both in the 40s. Fades. Craig, I think you got to fall on this
pie on the face moment here.
Pie on the face with Brooks at T2. Kevin had Patrick Reed at T9. I had Berger at T35. But here, guys, this is where it gets interesting. Our one and done. We had two terms this week, and it shook everything up. Everything just got completely moved around. Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe it when I was putting in these numbers on Sunday night. Anyways, looking at the WGC, you guys somehow colluded Tuesday,
no,
Wednesday.
I almost got thrown because when Kevin picked my guy, I almost had to pivot, and I'm glad I did.
We've now instituted a rule so that whoever's leading has to lead. It goes in descending order, first, second, third. You have to make your pick. You have to submit your picks first, so that the winner or the leader at the end can't just always block. Mirror.
Yeah.
So
anyways,
I was second submission with Viktor and Craig.
Kevin and Craig both won. Viktor collected a pretty $780,000, 780,000 one and done points. I felt really good about my Hatton pick going in. I went Tyrrell Hatton. He got T22. He birdied his first 3 holes. I thought it was over after 3 holes on Thursday, but turns out it wasn't. He still collected 100K. It kept me in it. But then we got some shifting with the Puerto Rico. So we all made the cut. The highlight was Emiliano Grillo for Craig with a T11, collected 72,000. I won Aaron Baddeley at T30, 18,000, and Kevin won Ian Poulter, T35, 15,000. Everything shifted for the total one and done. So what happened is I was in lead. I shifted all the way to the back. I'm at 2.928 million. Kevin is just over 3 million. He stays in the middle, 3 million. Craig, out of nowhere, from last to first, 3,006,000. He's beating Kevin by $3,500 right now.
No,
3,500 points.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 35.
3,500.
That's a nice cut made last place, probably.
Between first and from Craig to myself, from first to last,
less than 100,000.
70,000. Yeah, 70,000 out. So shook everything up. I now have the upper edge because I submit mine last. So good luck, Craig.
I'd be curious to know who has the best pool remaining though, because that's something I had Hovland penciled in as my one and done pick, and then when Kevin put his in, I was so close to pivoting, and I almost actually used Xander, who it would have just been a disastrous week to pick Xander.
I got a couple sneaky ones penciled in coming up here, so I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, and now you can really keep them sneaky. Maybe this was a strategic move to
It was very strategic. Very strategic. Okay.
Savvy.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Good bets, bad bets,
I just want to say real quick,
okay.
The king is dead. Long live the king.
King of the North. King of the North. All right, do I have to do this Dr. Seuss again? Good bets, bad bets, red bets, green bets. I guess we'll go with our one and done leader right now, Craig. How did your week shake up?
Well, let's start with the good. Adam and I, we were breaking down the full field on our Wednesday night live show, and there was some debate between Zalatoris and Rose, who was the better play, who was going to end up as better on the week. And I actually don't have the numbers in front of me here, but it wasn't really close. Zalatoris blew him out of the water. So Adam's going to have to buy me a nice 6-pack of local craft beer that I'll have to figure out what I'm going to go with. So I
guess you get to choose the beer, not me.
Well, either way,
There's like what, 4 breweries out there? I can figure it out.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get something good though. So yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll send you a nice little picture of me cracking my first one.
I'm sure you
so
will.
the bad. So I had I played a lot of Showdown this week because it's just a fun field when you have everyone in it like this. And so I had a really good lineup today. It had Morikawa, it had Hovland, it had Scheffler, it had Kevin Na, who went crazy. It didn't have Ortiz, which was the only other optimal play, but it had frickin' Sergio Garcia on it, who Adam had been hyping up Sergio all week, or maybe mostly at the start of the week, and then you said, okay, he's done what he's gonna do, stay away. But so I had Sergio. He went out there, I think he was +4, +5 on the day, just sewered what would have been a top 5 for sure ticket. So that's the bad. The red, and so this one comes back to my stock up on Cameron Smith. My red bets this week: Cameron Smith Showdown play on Saturday. I brought him up on our show on Friday night as I think he's going to be chalky, but still go with him. I maybe had him on about 50% of my Showdown lineups. I still like my player pool, and this is where we go from the red to the green. My player pool was so good on Saturday, I still came out with a profit, even though I had frickin' Cameron Smith, who had his 77 on like just under half my tickets. It was a bit of a devastating, like my whole week ended up slightly positive, but it was just one of these ones where like a couple picks kept me from being into, those top of the GPP big wins. So
the Cam Smith has got to sting a little bit harder because that's a public one.
Well, it's always worse when you plant your flag on someone publicly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Sergio is just a sneaky one that I am kicking myself for.
We all play a little bit of Sergio privately, though. We don't speak.
We don't usually talk about it.
Don't put words in my mouth, all right?
Okay, that's awesome. That's your green. Kevin, what's your...
So I ended up even Steven on the week. Just
good job, Jerry Seinfeld.
My two big backings were Hovland and Finau. I took them both to win, to top 5, top 10. They were both looking really good there. Finau, I think, was either 1 under or even through the weekend. So he finished top 15, which kind of took me out of having a positive week because Hovland obviously paid off. He didn't get the win, but the top 5 and the top 10 were, I think I got him top 5 at 450 and top 10 was 170 or something like that.
Which is basically a lock these days, like we're saying.
Well, that's what it felt like, yeah. So, and even with Finau, I'm like, I might as well take these guys to top 5. They top 5 every week.
Can I bet specifically on second place?
Yeah.
I made some other bets. Scheffler, first round top 10. He ended up 1 back of that, which was a bummer. Missed a putt on 18, I believe. And then, I let some stuff ride on Homa since he did so much from a bankroll there last week. He had a nice little tie for 22nd. He had a triple, I think, on his last hole on Thursday, which kind of set him down the leaderboard and set him back a little bit. But yeah, good week overall. Like Craig says, I paid my taxes. I just got to play for free, essentially. So
I'm going to be the same as Craig. I'm going to go good, bad, red, green. My good was Branden Grace. Mentioned him on our Puerto Rico show. Went out, got the win. Did okay for me for the Puerto Rico Open and DFS, but we had a couple listeners that went 10, 15, 20x.
Our Puerto Rico picks were awesome this week.
Stellar, yeah.
8 of 8 made cut. The winner... I thought I actually was picking better than you till your guy came out and won it.
Well, you have 3 guys in the top 15 with Percy, Wu, and Kim.
Unfortunately, my own I only ended up, I think, making $2 on a $1 entry. But anyways, I'm glad our listeners won with our picks.
I went 3x, but we had some guys go 10, 15, 20x on that. So love to see that. That's good. My bad is pretty much everything else for the week. My WGC was horrible. I don't know if it's my 50% Sergio or my 30% English. But it was so bad. It's awful. I don't know. My favorite event, I think, is the match play WGC where you got to hand build them all. But not having a cut, I feel like it's just hard in DFS.
I do find that. I mean, it also shows like our Puerto Rico grinding the bottom of the PGA player pool. We did a lot better than we did in our who to pick from all the stars.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I warned you a couple weeks back about Harris English and my stock down, so maybe you just gotta pay a little more attention here, Adam.
I guess so.
I gotta be taking notes here. Who'd you say this is?
Yeah.
Don't play Bubba. Got it. Red, my whole week, pretty much red. We made a couple, Showdown helped a little bit, but red for the tournament long. And then green, pretty much the only thing green besides Puerto Rico Open is that my buddy Rory texted me on Saturday night. He said,
not that Rory, just to be clear.
Well, it's a Rory. People can place whatever Rory they think it's going to be. He said, I think a lot of guys are going to go out there and wear red and black to give tribute to Tiger. So how about like when we play around this summer, let's put a wager like whoever loses buys the first beer in our golf round this year. So he's like, do you think more or less than 75% of the guys are going to wear red and black? And as this was happening, I think Max Homa was tweeting that he doesn't have red and black. I'm like,
he didn't pack it.
I don't think guys packed it. So Rory said he's like 75% over under. I'm like, I'll take the under. So pretty much the greenest thing of my week is I got a free beer at some golf round future in the summer at some point. So that's probably the best betting thing I made all week.
Nice.
Anything else, guys, before we wrap up the pod? Any last thoughts on this fantastic week of golf?
My one thought is I was looking at the upcoming schedule as I was, brainstorming about some one and dones here, and I gotta say we are not far out from the Masters at this point.
No,
we're into March tomorrow. We are getting there,
and we have a Players betwon now and then.
And we have
it's
Players.
An awesome
exactly.
stretch coming up here.
It is. It's great
stretch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the great stretch, we have our Arnold Palmer Invitational preview is on YouTube. Go watch that now. We're going to be dropping videos Monday. We're going to have our live show on Wednesday. Make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Just real quick before you get into I feel like you're getting into the closing spiel. One thing, Kev, I want your take on this because you might know. Bryson has talked about driving number 6 at Bay Hill, which is the one that goes all the way around
it's like
the
340, 345 carry or something.
Yeah. So what do you think about? Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you?
Yeah, I want to see him try. I hope he.
Yeah. I feel like he's gonna do it, and then I feel like the golf world is gonna like blow up, and it's gonna be like the worst.
I mean, it's completely wind dependent. If there's any hint of a wind into him, he's not gonna be able to do it. And if it's downwind,
he'll do it with a 3-wood.
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely be able to do it. Like, there's no question. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really cheer for Bryson, but I'd love to see what happens.
Yeah,
if he hits in the water, I'm okay with
it. Regardless of whether you cheer for it or not, I think it'll be intriguing.
I mean, let's face it. If the wind's the right way, like there's other guys in the field that can get there too. Yeah. So.
It's just, I think in part, it's the carry. And like the fact is that he's hitting these moon balls. So like it's all carry. So I think that's really what, besides the fact that he's hitting it so far, is that he can hit it that far with all carry.
And I also, I don't know because nobody's done it, but like, obviously it's an advantage because you're around the green, but like, can that green, is it just going to like rip through and then you got a treacherous downhill towards the water?
I was watching this video, Golf Digest, I believe. I'm not positive on that one, but they brought out a long drive champion in 2017 or 2018, and he was hitting balls over there. It looks like it. I mean, you're obviously hitting a long club in, but there's a bunker behind the green that I think would be the most commonplace, or like a hill right behind the green. So it's essentially you can get up and down and make an eagle pretty easily. I think if you get it over there. But then the one other one, John Daly had tried to. Poke it over there. He made an 18. He went full tin cup trying to hit balls over there.
Good on old John.
I feel like it'll be interesting if Bryson doesn't make it to see how many he pulls.
Yeah,
let's do the whole bag. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Guess that's a withdrawal.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens for sure.
Yeah, it'll be good to watch. So as I mentioned, that Arnold Palmer Invitational preview is on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at Grandstand Golf. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Rate and review wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast, and we will catch you in our next episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See you later.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.